Hey there, fellow nerds and geeks. We're here at Long Beach Comic-Con 2017, and I'm joined by Zach Kaplan, the writer and creator of the comic book Eclipse.
Hi.
Published by Top Cow. Thanks for joining us on on the Hall H show.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I guess we'll just get right into it. For this show, we're going to talk about Eclipse, of course, but I want our audience to get to know you a little bit better.
Sure.
So if you can, just let us know what 11-year-old Zach was like.
11-year-old Zack.
Yeah. What were you into as a kid?
I was nerdy. I was into, I was probably deep into Zelda at that point, or computer games, video games, a lot of that. And yeah, Star Trek. I was watching lots of Next Generation after school.
Oh, nice.
I did not play sports. I was a big geek at 11 years old, for sure. And I was growing up, by that time I was in North Florida, which is a very interesting experience because I was a Jewish kid in the Baptist Bible Belt. So that was, I mean, I love Florida, but it was a very interesting experience growing up in the Deep South. Yeah. And then I made my way out here to Los Angeles.
Well, before we get to Los Angeles, at a young age, were you always creative?
Yes, I was always creating. I mean, when I got a video camera, I was shooting films. I used to do stop animation with my action figures, like, my He-Mans. I'd make little movies, and I did writing, I did film, I did everything. I did acting. I initially was pursuing acting for a minute, and then I quickly realized I wanted to be more of the behind-the-scenes storyteller, more writing, and so by the time I got to college, I realized that I wanted to switch. But I studied theater in college. I did directing and acting and all that stuff.
Now, growing up, were there any sort of seminal pieces that sort of galvanized your wanting to sort of go into the writing part of the creative process?
I mean, I read lots of comics when I was growing up, but I did not think about the people behind the comic books. Mm-hmm. And I didn't think about the people behind films growing up either. I mean, I identified with actors.
Okay.
So, and I just like big budget stuff. So I was really, anything from Back to the Future to Indiana Jones, to Star Wars. I was just into all that kind of stuff. So it wasn't until I got to college and right out of college that I started to appreciate the people behind the scenes more, the filmmakers, the directors, the writers. And it wasn't until then that I found my love of comic book creators. I mean, I was reading, Spider-Man and X-Men and all that stuff growing up, but it didn't occur to me that the creators behind it. No one exposed me to that, so I just, yeah. So
from, you make your way out to Los Angeles?
Yeah.
From Los Angeles to when you start creating Eclipse, can you describe that creative journey?
Oh yeah, I did everything.
Okay.
I mean, I did, first off, I did a whole bunch of odd jobs. I was an agent's assistant. I did cater waiting. I taught film and TV and writing. I was a poker dealer for a year.
Oh, yeah. I remember you mentioning that at another event.
Yeah. So I did a lot of odd jobs while I was writing. I went to USC Film School in between all of that. Mm-hmm. The irony being that I went to film school and then I came right back out and continued to do kind of odd jobs while I was writing. I was pursuing it for a long time, and I had a lot of close opportunities. I had a lot of situations where I'd get something into development for film or TV, but nothing ever went. And I'd always wanted to do comic books, and then I finally got a chance to do it.
So is Eclipse your first attempt at sequential art?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And I think you said that you sort of got the idea from when you were a poker dealer, or card dealer?
I was working as a poker dealer for you in Los Angeles at Hollywood Park Casino, which is a very interesting place too. And I was working a graveyard shift. I would start my shift at about 7 o'clock, and I would go till about 3 in the morning, and then I would play cards until about 5 myself.
I see you post those pictures of you playing poker.
Yeah, I play a lot of poker.
Instagram.
I have a weekly home game, and I play a lot of poker. But yeah, I would be driving home at sunrise, and that was some of the inspiration for Eclipse. Wow. Yeah.
I guess we can get into the book.
Yeah.
Why don't you give our audience a little premise of the book?
So world where the sun will burn you alive if you go outside. Basically, something has happened to the sun. We don't know what, but the sun is deadly. So everybody works at night. They sleep during the day. And then there's a killer going around, and he's using sunlight to burn his victims.
Interesting that the name is Eclipse, and we just had an eclipse.
I know, we just had one. That was a good marketing opportunity for me.
For sure.
I told everybody that was that eclipse actually was our PR stunt. You didn't realize that? Yeah, thousands of years in the making. We organized the whole thing, and everybody they didn't realize it was just for a comic book.
Right.
Yeah.
And did you correct me if I'm wrong, but was this like an 8-year sort of labor of love?
It was many years. I don't know about 8. I had the idea many years ago, and I always thought it would be a great comic book. But you for anybody who's creative out there, you come up with an idea, you put it somewhere, you develop it, and then it goes up and down in terms of your attention to it sometimes. Right. And so this was an idea I had. And then I put together a pitch for a comic book, and I went out to several places. It was not my first comic book pitch. I'd done other pitches at other places and not been able to get it going.
Okay.
And finally, Top Cow responded and gave me the chance.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah.
It's an awesome book.
Thank you.
I'm up to the end of volume 2.
Yeah.
I want to know what happens to the third albino. So why don't we go into the characters a little bit?
Yeah.
With
the main character,
David Baxter?
Yeah, David Baxter. He's the main character. He puts on one of these suits during the day. Mm-hmm. It's kind of a lot of fun to kind of look at a blue collar kind of guy in this world, and a reluctant hero. And he's just a maintenance man. He helps maintain the city's infrastructure. He kind of has the crap job of going out during the day and dealing with the sun, but it's interesting because he's actually living the life that we live now. He actually does work at day and sleep at night, whereas everybody else is the opposite. They've switched on it, and he gets pulled into the murder mystery of it all.
And so, from David Baxter to Rose, and I guess Cielo.
Yeah, it's the same. She has 2 different names. Yeah. She kind of has her rebellious name. So her name is Rose, and she's the daughter of a solar oligarch, somebody who's essentially seems to be running the city, or one of the many guys now running the city. And she's a rich girl running around partying. She doesn't really have an understanding of what's going on, and she gets pulled into the killer targets her, and it gets pulled into the mystery of everything that's going on. And there's kind of an evolution for her. In Arc 2, she went from being just, the heroine in distress to somebody that actually we saw her point of view, and we saw the fallout of what it was, what it meant to her, and she's now waking up and responding to the situation, taking on the investigation herself, and that was a lot of fun to look at that transformation.
That was a fun read.
Yeah.
Like, not only does she transform, just character-wise, but obviously you have to do it visually with the way she dresses, and the type of clothes that she
she's
wears.
Evolving. Yeah. I mean, I always wanted the series to look at characters slowly evolving. Bax is slowly evolving, she's slowly evolving, and so it's been fun to write both of them.
So you have Bax the hero.
Yeah.
I guess Cielo is
she's a hero too. Yeah.
Let's talk about the villains real quick.
Yeah, sure. Well, there's a villain in the first arc, and I don't want to spoil anything for people who have not picked it up, but he's going around killing people using the sun. He's got something very mysterious about him and his ability to do that. And then there's her father is kind of a unique antagonist in a way. Rose, Cielo's father, and his
name is Nick, right?
Nick Brandt, and he came up actually. So the backstory, he came up with Bax. Right. They were partners. They were firefighters when the solar flare hit. But while Bax kind of lost a lot during this cataclysm and kind of it's a very cynical start for Bax. Nick had quite the opposite experience. He capitalized on this experience and rose to power and has become a real powerful guy in the city. But obviously there's a lot of nefarious undertones to what he's doing and what's going on. And by the end of the second arc, his daughter is starting to pick up on some of that. And so he's a really fun guy to write too, because it's complex, and we still don't know enough. I mean, the third arc is going to really get to explore that a lot, which I'm really excited about. But he's dealing with a lot of complexity in the city, so you can't tell if he's a terrible guy or if he's making complex decisions. So so yeah, he's fun to write too.
Yeah, it's definitely a fun ride, and it's awesome just to sort of. And I love the pages that you include in the back, like your creative process. And
I mean, that was an idea that Giovanni, came up with early on. He said, why don't we show some of the process for the back for the art, from layout to pencils to inks, and people really responded, and so we really threw ourselves into opening it up. I was a first-time comic book creator, so I wanted to say, hey, here's everything that's going on.
Can we do a quick rundown of your creative team?
Yeah, absolutely. Giovanni Timpano, amazing artist. I mean, it's so crazy how lucky I got, because he's just so good. And so he was working a lot of Dynamite titles. He did The Shadow, Justice Inc. There was a Green Hornet Shadow crossover. Now he's doing Batman Shadow crossover, which is pretty awesome. Cool. But he had never done a creator-owned world before. And so he was really dying to sink his teeth into world generation. And the detail in this book, go look at any of the pages. It's just so crazy. And so he's amazing. We had colorist Chris Northrup on the first arc. It was great. Helped us set an amazing palette.
I love the palette.
Yeah, it's great.
Amazing,
yeah, and then Flavio Dispenza came on to the second arc, and he's been killing it too. He's an amazing, brand new guy. Giovanni,
college, right?
Yeah,
school?
yeah. Giovanni found him out of an Italian comic book art school,
awesome.
And this is his first U.S. book, and he's just killing it too. So they're both on to great things. We've got Troy Patiri, who he letters like half the books in the industry.
Nice.
But he does great letters. I mean, you don't realize how important these things are.
I guess National Letterist Day was yesterday?
Yeah. I was like, that's Troy for me. It was thank you, Troy. That's Thank You, Troy Day. And then, Top Cow's been great. Matt Hawkins believed in the book from the start, and everybody here at Top Cow is great to work with.
Now, can you sort of compare and contrast the challenges that you faced, doing your initial 4 issues, and now that you have a monthly book that you're producing?
Yeah, I mean, it actually became monthly after issue 1.
Oh, okay.
So I was initially given the chance to do 4, and it was a 4-issue miniseries. I had hopes that it would go more, and I kind of left the door open in terms of where I had the story. When issue 1 first came out, it took off, and we had not yet released 4. So that when 1 came out, Matt told me, do you got more story for this? And I said, yes, I do. Okay. And so it became an ongoing monthly series. I was able to go back and change 4 just enough to give me even more room to ramp up into the rest of the series. And so then we became monthly from then on. So even when everybody was picking up 1, we were monthly. And yeah, it's a crazy schedule to have. I mean, we were monthly from even the generation of 1, we were plugging forward. But once you have that pressure of delivering the book, it's a whole different ballgame.
So obviously, I think I read somewhere that you based David Baxter, the look of him at least to Tom Hardy, I think.
Oh, where did you read that?
I think it was in the notes.
That was an inspiration of mine. Yeah, okay. I mean, I wanted somebody who was really. Tom Hardy is like a chameleon; he can do anything. But he plays a lot of characters that don't say a lot, and just
more emotive. Yeah,
more emotive. Yeah. And just tough as nails, and not tough like because they're big, not like The Rock, but just like,
it's more relatable.
Yeah, he's an ordinary guy that just you would not want to mess with. I think I saw an article once like Tom Hardy was in London or something and stopped a robber or something like that. He did, and so to me, David Baxter's just this tough, emotive guy that exudes confidence and power. And he doesn't really want to, he's been burned by life, so he doesn't really want to be a hero, but he has it in him, because he's just...
I guess the reason I ask is because obviously this book, I could easily see on the big screen or the small screen.
Well, I don't know if you're aware, it's in development for TV.
Oh, well, there you go. Yeah. Let's talk about that.
Yeah, they just announced it. There's not much I can say.
Okay. But whatever you can say.
That's what I can say. They announced in San Diego that it is in development for TV. Actually, we may be looking at more details coming out very soon. I'm very excited for more details to come out because it's very exciting stuff. But Hollywood is very particular about the way in which they reveal announcements, and they like to put things together. And so
That's good to hear.
Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you very much. Yeah.
You have to come back on the show when you get more
Absolutely,
information.
I would love to. Yeah, but that's all I can tell you. But yeah, it's in development for TV and it's some very exciting stuff.
Nice. Yeah. Oh, go ahead.
Oh no.
Now we are at the Long Beach Comic Con.
Yep.
What other cons are you going to be at this year?
Well, I've been hitting them hard this year. In terms of the rest of the year, I've got 3 more. I'm doing Rose City in Portland. That's a big Image presence because they just moved up to Portland.
Oh wow. Okay.
I'm doing New York Comic Con, which I'm excited about, and Giovanni is going to be in New York for this. He's not done any cons since Eclipse came out in the U.S., so I'm very excited. So if you live in the United States and you like Eclipse and you want to get Giovanni's signature, come to New York Comic Con. And then I'm going to do LA Comic Con back here at the end of October.
Okay, we'll be there too.
Yeah, and that'll be it for. But I'm already looking at next year and lining them up. You have to set these things up.
I want to cover some other future projects that you may have in the pipeline.
Yeah.
But we also have some segments of the podcast, such as the Thunder Round, which is some sort of some off the beaten path set of questions.
Right. Try my best.
All right. If I gave you $1 million, what would you do with it? And you had to spend it all in one day.
I've just spent $1 million. This is like Brewster's Millions.
Yeah, exactly.
If to spend $1 million in one day,
yeah,
I'd buy real estate. I'd buy something. Yeah. Okay. Let's assume I can't do that. What would I spend $1 million on? Fun. I don't know. I'm like not a car guy. I'm not a clothing guy. I'd like to think that I'd buy something collectible, but where's the number one? That would be fun to go buy like a number one.
How about invest in a suntan lotion company?
Huh?
Invest in a suntan lotion.
Yeah, there you go. Umbrella company, something. Yeah.
What 3 movies could you watch over and over and not get tired of them?
It's a great question. Over and over, not get tired. I actually think it's easy to watch comedies over and over again, even though I love my dark stuff and I love my stuff. I mean, like, Austin Powers was always an easy go-to to just watch over and over again. I could probably watch Groundhog's Day over and over again.
Groundhog's Day.
Oh, literally, and then I would not know what was going on. Yeah, I could probably watch something like the South Park movie over and over again. Yeah. I mean, I love my Star Wars and I love my old films like Godfather and stuff like that. Cool. But you gotta, I don't know, I can't sit down and watch Godfather just chilling. Like, like I have to devote my mental to that. So,
what advice would you give your 11-year-old self?
Oh man, just about what? He was so clueless. He needed so much help.
Right.
Just don't worry so much. It's gonna get better. This is the advice for anybody that's 11-year-olds is you think that life is like, you think that everything that's going on at 11 years old is like, it sucks. You just got to get through it. Try to make the best. I don't know. How do you make the best of that? It also sucks for everybody. If it doesn't suck, if you're 11 years old and it doesn't suck, then good for you. But because it sucks for a lot of people.
Right.
So I don't know. I would just say, try not to worry about it. But then he would hate me, because what an asshole adult thing to say to an 11-year-old, like, shut up, you don't know what it's like.
Right.
Everything's fine for you. Shut up. So I don't know.
It could be something simple like when you're playing Zelda,
Right. Get to the. I probably wouldn't say anything because you got to just go through it yourself. Yeah.
If there was a Mount Rushmore for like comic book creators, what 4 people would you put on there?
Probably Alan Moore, Stan Lee, what else would I put on there? I mean, there's so many good ones. I don't know. Alan Moore, Stan Lee.
We had Jack Kirby's birthday.
Sure. You'd put Jack Kirby on there. I don't know. I mean, there's so many like good options, and now I'm trying to think of like the greatest greats of all. I don't know enough. I'm still learning a lot. So I would farm that decision out to someone who knows more.
Cool. We could put you on there.
Don't put me on there. Don't put me on there. You come back to me in 50 years and ask me.
Exactly.
See, if I've earned it, then I'll take it. But
cool. Another segment of the show is called Art Watch.
Okay.
We sort of give props to some artists that we follow online or wherever we find them at a museum or.
Yeah.
And when we say artists, it could be a writer like yourself.
Okay.
It could be a cosplayer, photographer. So, is there any artists out there that you sort of want to put the spotlight on?
Giovanni Timpano.
Okay.
That's a good one to look at. Oh man. I mean, just artist crazy. I'm like pass. No, I mean I love so many. I love so many artists that I see. I'm just not. That book. There's a book where the guy talks about tipping points. Malcolm Gladwell's tipping points, and he talks about mavens. I think people who are the first one to discover, who go around and go, who you need to check out.
Yeah.
I'm not that person. I'm the last guy to the party on everything. So I was wearing trucker hats when they were totally people were like, that's so 6 months ago. What are you doing with that? I'm like, oh, I thought we were doing this, and I'm like, they're like, no. So I see stuff I love, and I can see it, and I can be like, that's awesome, that's great, I love this. I can tell you stuff that I'm reading and tell you stuff I respond to, but in terms of the artists, I like them, but I liked God Country a lot. Jeff Shaw, I think, is that, and Donnie Katz. They're great at that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I mean, I also like big stuff. I like Rick Remender. I like Ed Brubaker. I like some of the artists that do Rick Remender stuff.
Yeah,
so,
I have a bunch of Remender books that I still haven't had a chance to read yet, so I'm looking forward to it.
I mean, I'm so bad with names too. What's the guy, the awesome artist? Sean Gordon Murphy. Sean Gordon Murphy. I mean, he doesn't need any help from me, but the stuff that he's putting online for his new Batman, The White Knight, is amazing.
Cool.
So
we'll definitely put those on the show notes.
Yeah, don't bother. Those are bad ideas. Someone else better will give you good recommendations.
I guess we'll sort of flash forward,
yeah,
and then we'll close out the show. What are some, I guess, projects in the pipeline? Other projects?
You know about Port of Earth, right?
No, I was going to ask you about that.
Yeah, it's the new series coming out in November, and Andre Moody is the artist. He's been doing 20 years of stuff. He does Rebels, some Star Wars, X-Men, Batman, everything. But he's amazing. And the premise of the book is Hollywood always looks at aliens coming down to blow us up or bring total enlightenment.
Okay.
So what if aliens were coming not in war or peace, but with a business deal? And the business deal is open up a port here on Earth. Uh-huh. So we open up the port here on Earth. The aliens come and they're visiting the port, and they are supposed to stay, but they don't always stay at port. They sometimes come into human areas, and sometimes problems emerge. So we've got agents who are responsible for returning or deporting them back to port, and it follows the two agents who are on a mission, and the kind of backdrop of the ramifications of what has happened with the port coming to an alien port coming to Earth.
Their primary form of currency isn't gold-pressed platinum, is it?
No, I don't think so. They're actually the deal that we make with them is they give us technology in the form of energy from water.
Ah.
So all their ships are powered on water, and they give us
mutual exchange.
Yeah. They want our ocean, and we want the technology, and so we make the deal. The deal with the aliens that show up.
And when did you say that was going to be coming out?
November, so it's actually coming up in 2 months.
Wow.
It just came out in previews, and there's an amazing spread of it in the Image Plus magazine. You guys can check that out.
And how long were you thinking about that idea?
Oh, a couple of years. Yeah, for sure. And yeah.
Now, earlier you mentioned the pitch that you had to go through for Eclipse.
Yeah.
The pitch for this new book, I mean, obviously, was it easier?
Yeah.
Since you had some.
Yeah, because I reached out to Matt Hawkins and I said, hey, I got another idea. Uh-huh. You want to hear it? And here it is. But I've given this advice before, and I'll give it again. You always want to, even a guy like Matt who's supported me, I respect his time. So I'm not going to send him an 8-page document. I sent him a paragraph. I said, hey, here's a paragraph. Does this interest you? Because I want to give him the opportunity to spend 30 seconds on it and go, no, I don't, that doesn't interest me. And I go, oh, okay, great, no problem. But, he said, no, that interests me. Tell me more. And I sent him a page, and he said, okay, this is good, tell me more. And I sent him 2 pages, and he said, okay, let's do this. So, cool. So yeah, I still went through a process of pitching, but obviously I have a relationship with Matt and with Top Count now, so that was a different situation.
I guess before we close out the show, is there any other forms of advice you can give aspiring writers out there, or creators in general?
Yeah, I mean, you got to create. Here's the other thing. The thing you're working on is not the thing that's going to make you big. You have to look at so many people get caught up in thinking Eclipse is going to be my big break. And oh my God, here it's going to be a big break. So I've got to put everything. I've got to be a perfectionist about it. I've got to put my heart. You do have to put your heart and soul into it. But the more pressure you put on one project, then you don't understand the big picture of this. So this is not about the project. This is about you. Right. And you need to create a project, keep creating. And so the more you can change your mindset, the better. And that's why you talk to somebody who says, I'm working on a project. It's going to be 30 issues long. Stop right there. Because 30 issues, take on small things. I mean, if you think about it like writing an article. You're writing, you start small. Come up with a one-shot. Do like a 20-page one-shot. The story is completely contained in the one-shot. Self-publish. Pitch it to, start there, because you're not trying to launch the amazing project. You're trying to launch the amazing creator, you. And so I had to tell myself, this is not the one. Every day I got up to work on Eclipse, I had to tell myself, this is not the one, this is not the one. The next one's the one. Okay. And Port of Earth is not the one. The next one's the one. It's always the next one, because I'm just in the game of producing as many great stories as possible. That's my goal. And I think so many creators put too much focus on the one project. Right. And then when it doesn't work out, and you hit that disappointment, get discouraged. Yeah. And that's not the game.
That's awesome advice. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Where can people find you online?
I'm on everywhere at Zach Kaps. I'm on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, ZackKaps.
Cool. Well, is there anything else that we missed that you'd like our audience to know about?
No. Check out Eclipse, check out Port of Earth, and enjoy.
Cool. Thanks for being on the show.
Absolutely, man.
All right. We'll have you on again.
Absolutely.
All right, guys. Peace, cheers. Thanks for listening. Bye. Thanks, man. That's cool.
We do.